Good evening and welcome to the wrong agenda in front of me, my apologies. Welcome to the Planning Committee meeting on this day, Tuesday the 19th of April. Welcome councillors, officers, no members of the press. And welcome those in the public gallery, or one of them. I'll start with the first item, which is apologies for absence.
We have apologies for absence from councillors Tom Buckley, Stefan Gavashat, Lawrence Plant and Rob Romans.
Thank you. And the next item is number 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any? I see none, so let's carry on to the next item, which is item number 3, to approve the minutes of the last planning committee meeting held on the 29th of March. We're not doing public participation. We'll do public participation next. Oh, sorry. Planning committee, 29th of March, proposer. Yeah, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Just a quick question.
This would be useful. Yeah, well, I mean, you can see how it's going.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, we probably do need to.
All right. Thank you. Item number 4 is public participation. Yes.
I'm Tony Hoskins. I'm happy to make a comment on the Climate Emergency Working Group's report
Thank you.
on decarbonisation. It is a lengthy report, but actually it's probably should be regarded as a starter. There are things that we feel could be qualified better, and certainly it's going to take a lot of work to get it up and running. The recommendation within the recommendations there is the statement that it should be looking at the reducing energy activities first before looking at solar renewables. And that is a very important recommendation. And that is because you won't be able to judge the success of solar renewables unless you know what is the changes in the consumption that should be made beforehand. So my view is that this is a starter. It will take a lot of work, as I said, but it also, given the council has declared a net zero policy by 2030, it's not something that should be put in a drawer and just left to be considered in 5 years' time. I think the council is going to work on this very quickly, pull their finger out, in fact, and actually take actions accordingly. I'm happy to answer any questions when it comes to the agenda, if that's appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions now? No? Okay, all right, let's move on then. Many thanks for. So let's move on to item number 5, which was plans amended. Please turn to page 9. Okay, and the first item is P21 S3570. It's a full application for 2A Wilson Avenue. I'll ask Jodie to comment, please.
The committee recommended approval last time.
Thank you. Okay, do I have any proposals? Yes.
Acceptance.
Okay, is that seconded? Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, all those in favour of acceptance? Okay, so
Are you abstaining for any particular reason?
Yes, because I've called the application in,
Right.
but they haven't allowed it yet. It was going to go over the 21 days if I hadn't called it in last week. But I'm in discussions with the plan officer at the moment because he's not sure if I can call an amendment in. But he hasn't shown me any reason yet why not. So anyway.
I
But
think
the-
this
I
is
will-
only a recommendation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just go with that.
Okay. Thank you. Let's move on to the next item then, which is P22 S0929. It's a household application for 46 Gravel Hill. Jodie.
Although it doesn't say on the agenda, the committee recommended approval last time.
Thank you. Any proposals?
Yeah, propose approval.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Thank you, councillor Clark. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, let's go for the vote then. All those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, let's turn to item number 6 on the agenda, which is plans new. We've got P22 S0023, it's a household application and it's for pan tiles. Now this property actually belongs to councillor Gavashak's partner. Therefore, we have taken a decision previously on this committee not to pass any kind of observations or comments on councillors who have an interest in the property. This will be decided by SODC, the SODC Planning Committee. All right, okay, so no further comments. Next item is P22 S1012. It's advertising consent for Henley Railway Station. Jodie.
Have no objection.
Thank you. Proposal? Yes,
Yeah, I
councillor Wright.
propose we support the application.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded? Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And next item on the agenda is P22 S1019. It's a household application for 51 The Close. Jodie.
No objection. Thank you.
Thank you. Would any councillor like to make a proposal? Okay, councillor Clark, thank you.
Acceptance, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Thank you, councillor Miller. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. And the next item is P22 S1064. It's a full application for Adam Court. Jodie.
No objection, subject to the satisfaction of the conservation officer.
Thank you. Proposals from any councillors, please?
Yeah, there's no objection, Chairman.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you. That's carried. And the next is P22 S1078. It's a household application for 1 St Anne's Close. Jodie.
No objection.
Thank you. Councillors, any proposals?
Yeah, I propose no objection, Chairman, but I'm not sure they should be changing the roof tiles to a different type. But other than that, I've got no objection to the application.
Okay. Okay, so did you want to make
I think we can make a comment on that.
mm,
There was a slight concern about the change of the roof tiles
mm.
in that area.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded? Yeah, second. Okay, thank you. Yes, councillor Clark would like to speak.
Are they old tiles on this property?
Are they-
It's really old or?
Well, they're as old as the house, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with the tiles, in my view. Obviously, the applicant wishes to change them to a
Okay,
different type.
okay, right. Well, we've got a proposal and a second. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. With that extra comment. And the next one is P22 S1108. It's a household application and it's for 70 Grays Road. Jodie.
Yes, so this would result in quite a large 2-storey extension. Part of it would be set down the main ridge line of the roof, the existing roof. And there has been a significant amount of redevelopment in the surrounding area in recent years. It's a good sized plot. I also note that the pre-application they've received from the officer, although they didn't have any concerns on the impact of the area, they did raise concerns on potential impact on the immunity of number 72.
Mm.
The applicant is trying to say, as part of the application, that there's an existing roof terrace with a privacy screen, which would limit any adverse impact on their amenity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any proposals? Yes. Okay, thank you. Planning reasons?
Development
Okay,
and overlooking the next door neighbour.
all right, thank you. Is that seconded? I'll second that one.
Yeah.
I know it's, I do feel for the applicant in this one because, you know, he may well be right that there is some development there next door which has not been approved, but unfortunately, you know, that needs to be established, that situation, before we can really go forward with this application in its current form, in my opinion. This applicant has not followed the pre-application advice given in its entirety. In my opinion. Any other opinions out there before we go to the vote? Yes.
An observation that you might wish to comment on how it fails to meet the
45 degree rule,
yeah.
which we learned all about in our planning training the other week. Did we?
No.
Yeah, you talked about the design guide. That was last week.
Sorry.
Well, we have a few gin and tonics, 45 degree table.
Okay, then let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of refusal? All those against? Okay, well, that is. Let's just mark it down as what's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll check with Sheridan tomorrow. We're talking about the core,
Are we?
yeah, we're
Oh,
talking
okay.
about the core nature of this meeting.
But, oh no, actually, no, it doesn't need to
No.
be, it just needs to be a majority,
Okay.
doesn't it? Just
And it
needs to be a.
as long as
you've
there's,
got
as long as there's
people
four
and you're
people
a
there.
majority,
Okay,
so
that's fine, then that's
yeah,
carried.
fine.
Yeah,
No problem with that.
okay. Never had this situation before in planning, have we?
No.
Never.
Perhaps we could co-op the officers on.
Okay, let's go to the next item on the agenda, which is P22 S1126. It's a household application. It's 1 L Lane. Jodie.
Thank you. So, yeah, this is a grade 2 listed building. The two-storey extension could have an adverse impact on the heritage assets, so this will be subject to the satisfaction of the conservation officer. I note that the county archaeological services officer has no objection, as it's a small-scale proposal. Thank you.
Councillors, any observations, any comments, any proposals?
I'm going to propose acceptance, Chairman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that a second?
Subject to the
conservation.
conservation, yeah.
Any other? Oh, yes, Councillor Clark.
I'll second that.
Oh, you're seconding?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I'm not going to speak to this one, as there is a strong feeling in the room already, so I'm not going to try.
You're going to
and
take
get
both
into-
applications together, Chair? Or are you trying to drag them into that?
Oh, what, are you talking about the listed building consent as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, should we do that? Let me
Yeah.
quickly read it to you. P22 S1127, it's listed building, 1 Bell Lane. Okay, yeah, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of approval subject to the conservation officer? All those for, all those against? Okay. And next on the item is P22 S1263, it's a listed building. Consent for Basket Makers Arms, 43 Gravel Hill. Jodie.
Again, I have no objection subject to the satisfaction of the conservation officer.
Okay, thank you.
If that's a proposal, I'll second it. I'll propose it.
I'll take it.
Okay, would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of approval, subject to the conservation officer? Thank you, that's carried. And over the page, please, to page 12. Now, I was going to ask Jodie if this householder application, because it's a listed building, should come with listed building application as well.
It should do. I'm wondering if it's on the next, it'll be on the next agenda, but I'll check that.
Okay, well, we'll take it anyway, but we'll check that at the same time. Okay, so let me read the number 2. It's P22 S1265, and it's a householder application for the Corner House Hot Gardens. Jodie.
Yeah, I have no objection subject to satisfaction of conservation officer. It looks as if there's no listed building consent being applied for, so I'll raise that with SADC.
Yes, please. Thank you. Any proposals? Yes, councillor Miller.
Acceptance, subject to the conservation.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No, okay, all those in favour of approval? Subject to the conservation officer, thank you. The next is P22 S1345. It's a householder application for 9A Berkshire Road. Jodie.
No objection.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded?
Yeah, second.
Yeah, thank you. Would any other council like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, thank you. That's quite difficult to do just forward, isn't it? Right, let's move on to the next item on the agenda then, which is number 7, which is any objections to calling applications. No, I see none. So let's move on to item number 8, which is the decision notices. This is just to receive and note the report that's come over from SODC. Okay, moving on to number 9, which is to consider a response to an appeal which has been lodged under the Town and Country Planning Act 1990, appeal against refusal, and it's for Crossways. Jodie, do you have any comments, observations?
Well, we put quite comprehensive representation into this application, so I recommend that we consider that, and also add in any further comments that might come out of the recently refused permission for 11 dwellings on that site as well.
Yeah, okay. Councillors, do you have any observations that you wanted to add to this response?
No, Chair, I think we'll leave it to plan officer to draft something up for us.
Yeah, so if our planning officer then could draft something, and I'll have a look over it as well, if that's okay with the councillors. Yes, councillor Clark.
We had discussed this before about crossways on the corner of the Shipwright Cross. Now, it's a very dangerous access in and out of there. Because I live just up the road from there now, and the speed of traffic that comes both ways, not 30 miles an hour, someone between 40 and 50.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the main objections, wasn't it, on Thames Farm? But that was but this one's nearer to the corner, isn't it?
Yes.
We've got highways in, haven't we?
Point is in
That point is already in there, but yes, it will be reiterated. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item number 10, which is the Climate Emergency 2030 Working Group, and this is to consider and recommend from the Climate Emergency 2030 Working Group regarding the Henley Town Council building decarbonisation feasibility study. I'd just like to say on this, I'm so impressed with the work that's been carried out on this. I mean, I've read it word for word, and I think it's really, really job well done. And I think I agree with Mr Tony Hoskins that the sooner this council can get started, I mean, those 8 years are going to fly by. The sooner we get started, I think the better, and to be a shining example of how councils can actively reduce their carbon footprints, I think is to be commended. And if we can encourage any town councils, all sorts of councils all over the country to do the same and work with them, all the better. Would any other council like to speak to this?
Summed it up nicely, actually. But I think it would be nice for this to be a template, as you say, for the councils to use going forward. But I agree, absolutely, really well written, well researched, fabulous. I mean, a very, very good document.
Yeah.
And yeah, if we can start on this, as you say, sooner rather than later.
Okay, but any other council like to speak before I make a recommendation?
No, I think the same. Obviously, like to thank Tony for the amount of work that he's put into this. Obviously, a lot when he speaks is obviously new to the committee. I think that would be an acceptable comment. I'd say massive amount of work to do. We're only asked, well, I say we're asked to support 5 recommendations on page 20, and there's not anybody involved in this at this moment in time, I believe. So it's just a matter of gaining more information and then putting a final proposal to the planning committee and then to full council. So I'd entirely endorse what's in front of us this evening and thank Tony Hoskins for the amount of work that he's done on behalf of the town council.
Yes, here. Okay then, so I'm going to make a proposal from the chair that we take the recommendation forward in 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, so in its entirety. Do I have a seconder? Okay, thank you. Councillor Clark, did you want to speak?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. All right then, so let's put this to vote. Then all those in favour? That's carried, thank you. The next part. Oh yes, so we're still on 10. So this is to receive the draft notes of the meeting of the Climate Emergency Working Group, which was held on the 28th of March. All those in favour? Okay, thank you. And now number 11 is the Community Governance Review, and this is consider a response to the Community Governance Review for Henley-on-Thames. Now, I have to say I've not come across one of these before, and I was hoping that an officer would be able to steer me in the right direction.
Yeah, so SADC is currently carrying out a community governance review to ensure that parishes continue to properly represent the local area and their residents. And they're seeking views on which parish Home Park should reside in, and this is shown on page 83 of the agenda. It can be seen that it's currently split between 2 different parishes, and so whether the committee wish to include all of that within Henley Parish or recommend that or not.
Councillors, any opinions?
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, you're looking at that. The boundary is absolutely ridiculous where it is. But saying that, that was probably there before the mobile homes were placed there. If you go up to the top, say 11B, 11, and the next 2 properties down, they've always been in Bix, but the rest of the properties, for some reason, even 7 and 8, have been in Henley. So we've now, at SODC, we've now brought those 4 properties back into Henley. But I think we should really move the boundary, or they should move the boundary. And so the question is, do you take in the whole site there, the place of worship and all the other units, or do you just take where the road goes around and move move the boundary to the road. What colour is that? Grey. Okay, I thought it was blue actually. Anyway, so I think if the boundary was moved to the blue area, I think that would make more sense. And actually, and then also taking the Bosley patch and the Swiss Farm cottage. So I would move, if it was me, I'd move the whole boundary into that. Alternatively, you then take the whole area, the other side of the grey road, and bring the whole lot into Henley. Now, the other side of that grey road, I don't believe there's any homes there that people stay in. I think they're all kind of cabins or mobile units which are rented out. Either way, either wants to go where that grey road is or taking the whole plot.
Yeah. So can I just ask what the residents of this particular line think? Are they going to be asked for a comment or?
Well, sorry, Chairman, at the moment they are, other than, well, no, they all are now, all those properties now on this side of the grey line are in Henley. They're in our electoral area. One would suggest that they should change the boundary to that, just to rectify it. Because in theory, the numbers 7, 8 and another one with no number on it, in theory, they are still in Bix. But they're obviously paying the precept to Henley.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, it just sounds like just a practical thing to do then, like it's an anomaly that's sprung up, from when this place was created, and it just hasn't yet been fixed, and it just needs to be tidied up and fixed once and for all. That's my take on it. I think we should do it and change that boundary line.
Well, I think we've given two options. If we wanted to be greedy, there must be some kind of council tax paid on that other area, which would obviously come into Henley, which would be handy to us. So, do we give them two options, or do we just suggest that the boundary is moved right the way around any built-up area there?
Could I suggest that we move the whole boundary? That's what I would propose or suggest. So you're talking going beyond the pond and all the way up there.
Yeah.
All this, all around the
Yeah.
back as well.
The whole campsite.
Yeah, yeah. Because there is a road, I think there's a road going up there to the, that's part of the Thames Water. So the next road up there would be next to that caravan park, just before the caravan park.
And I presume that Bix gets the same letter from their council regarding this.
Yeah, so we propose that we take the whole of Swiss Farm into Henley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that. Okay, is that seconded? Yeah. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you. Right, so last item on the agenda then is item number 12, which is progress report for applications called in. Any movement on these at all? We do, don't we? Have some movement, don't we? So we'll just go through it quickly. St Mark's Road can come off because that was allowed at appeal. Yep. Treetops was allowed at planning committee. We don't yet know about 18 Harcourt Close. Hart Street, nothing.
23 Harcourt Close have been given permission. No. Okay. Yeah.
Thames Farm, nothing further. Yeah, no, I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, councillors.